Welcome to our continuing coverage of the Diplomats. Appreciated by most people, but I'm coming in a little hot given the fact that genius Cedric wants to bitch about when the episode gets released, wants to bitch about the show and internal messages. You know what he should be bitching about? His shit position and his shit play in this game.
I thought Jordan was bad.
We're not going to do anything for Cedric anymore. Okay? Everybody, Cedric's playing brilliantly. He's a genius. That's all he wants to hear. So we're going to tell him how much of a genius he is this show. We're going to go over the great moves that he did here. Did he keep Brest or not? That's the only thing I'm interested in as we move to fall 1903.
And you picked him to win the last two turns. What's he complaining about?
He doesn't. We're slow. We're dummies. We don't see his genius. I mean, the show didn't come on time. First thing I do, I wake up Saturday morning, is his message. 90% of life is showing up, Cedric. Like, you didn't show up for this show for weeks and weeks and weeks, which is why you weren't on it for so much. Then you complain when you get on it that it's not good and you can only do a stand-in episode for 15 minutes. We're just nice to you. Okay? I'm not going to be nice. That's it. Let's see how he does.
Oh, man. Wow. What an intro.
That was an intro.
Hope everybody else does well. I want all Attack England at this point, just so I don't hear from him anymore. Let's go to Norway. Can we get Russia in Norway? Keith, can we do that? Can we get this stab?
Wow. So back to the impartial analysis.
I'm as impartial as Cedric is. How about that? I'll treat him as well as he treats me.
Good Lord.
We got the
Are we going to see the orders? Now I'm after you, Keith. I'm coming in hot.
I'm waiting for the cue.
Couldn't get a stab.
No Norway. No Norway. Sorry.
Cedric wins again.
Wins
Evil wins. Okay. What do we got, guys?
Mid-Atlantic Falls. Spain does go to Portugal. Rob ensures Brest is taken and blows up the fleet on the retreat, which is very good because that means he can rebuild and Cedric's going to be out of position. Darcy finally gets into Burgundy.
And Piedmont.
And Darcy is keeping Tim honest by tapping Sweden. And that is pretty much the West. Josh, take these.
Well, for the West, one thing we didn't talk. I mean, these tactics are all fine. I mean, basically he said, okay, you either take Brest or take Mayo. Cedric's happy to take one of the two. I don't think we talked about Mayo cutting English Channel with 2 on Brest, but
I did.
Actually, that's the right tactic.
Keith did talk about cutting.
Oh, okay, yeah, I totally missed it. I was thinking about 3 on it, but yeah, those are good tactics there. For the East, I mean. So Tim backed out of Galicia in spring to move back in and attempt to take Budapest unsuccessfully. Otherwise, Philip convoys to Tunis, protects Ionian with the support hold of Adriatic, which I don't know if we talked about. That's actually, now I'm seeing that's a good move. I know we don't like the army in Tunis, but he defends Ionian, which I like.
We talked about it. We just didn't like the an army stuck there potentially.
Right. So I think my big thing for the East is, so obviously the spring move for Tim to have Galicia be the mover to Romania, not Ukraine, meaning Galicia was open, was a diplomatic move, but only for him to come right back in the fall. I'm assuming that was to buy him a turn for the fall moves, but at that point, I don't know, maybe his decision changed in the fall, but at that point, I mean, wouldn't you have rather have been in Galicia going into the fall?
Maybe he was hoping that Austria would be more off guard. That would be my hope. Like I said in the spring, I would move right back to Galicia. So this is exactly what I
think he would have put 3 on support holding Trieste as opposed to support holding Budapest with Vienna, maybe.
Keith, will you go back to the spring so we can see what Josh is talking about?
Yeah.
So we all criticize that. And we can go back to the fall. I'm guessing it was a diplomatic play.
It could also be a tactical play if he thought If he thought Austria was going to tap, then I don't know. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because he just bounces. Yeah, it has to be diplomatic.
Right. But
It
like,
has to be a diplomatic play.
do you think that this was his plan all along, or do you think something changed to make him then go right back at it in the fall?
That would be my plan all along. I mean, the Austria is not of any use. You guys don't have enough fleets between you, so it's just the easiest centers. It's nothing personal.
Makes sense.
I mean,
What I like is
yeah,
that
go
the
ahead.
AI team. Sorry, what I like is that it looks like the AI got back together.
That's
So-
exactly what I was going to point.
Okay.
Venice supporting Trieste.
So I thought that, but what happened other than like Venice had nothing better to do, right? So why not subwarhold it, you know? But like, I mean, did he even need to? I mean, like,
No, it didn't need to, but it couldn't
Yeah.
move. I mean, I
Right,
think it's a signal. And look, Trieste isn't even supported. Vienna and Budapest double.
I guess everything that Philip did, Philip made sure he couldn't lose Ionian. He convoyed to Tunis to, ensure he didn't have a disband this year. And then Venice had nothing better to do. So it just support held Trieste. Like, I don't really, at first glance, I thought this was like AI getting back together, but then I kind of really looked at it further and I don't really see any. I mean, Austria's just support holding himself with the correct decision on his part. So that was good tactics on his end. But
I think it is. It's probably a reality check from Philip saying, hey, I thought I had a friend in Tim. I had to make these moves to make myself not as big of a threat on this board. Obviously, I misplaced my trust in Tim. He blindsided me. And even if you don't care about my position, you can see that you're just going to be the next one anyway. So we have to work together out of mutual survival at this point. So I wouldn't be surprised if they stick together a little bit longer.
Well, especially now with Richard is most likely now, I would imagine, upset with Tim. So it's kind of like, who has burned you most recently? And then go with the person who has burned you the furthest from now, which would be Philip. So going back to Philip.
Correct.
If we go back to the spring, Keith, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this just screams such an RT, these moves here. If you're Austria, you have to be thinking that, I kind of lean on the Keith analysis here that I'm not, if you go back to the fall now, I don't think Trieste really could have done anything other than tap Serbia. Vienna has to support Budapest here. And I don't think Italy really could have done anything else to get forward momentum. And this isn't even forward momentum. This is just to what? So Italy stays flat. Actually, they're down one because of an army got piffed. But this is
right.
This is the most Italy could do. The safest. In the West, Keith, talk to us about. You had suggested Spain go to Portugal here, and I feel really dumb because I still don't understand the difference.
It's the same thing.
If for some reason your Mid-Atlantic unit moved somewhere, or if for some reason Cedric moved North Atlantic out and you had an opening to do a forward retreat, you could use Gascony and Portugal to bounce in Spain and keep that without having to go back and cover. You could actually cause some chaos with your raider. So,
but functionally it ends up being the same, right? I see what you're saying.
99% of the time, it's going to go back to Spain or Portugal. So it's just if you got that opening, Portugal is just a better place to be.
Got it. That makes sense.
I want to talk about the tactics of Brest, Picardy, and Burgundy here for a second. Would there have been any look? Hindsight's 2020. This ends up being pretty good. Where they, I mean, I would think for France, where Picardy is essentially not taken here, which clearly Cedric anticipated by moving Brest to Picardy. But would there have been any utility since I think?
No, Brest doesn't.
It was a retreat. They both retreated to Picardy, so they both.
They both retreated. They both retreated.
Yeah, Cedric support held Brest with English Channel, I believe.
So
okay,
that was pretty much the two moves possible. He could either try to hold Brest and attempt to get a build, or he could do for a brace and try to move Brest out, or he can make channel the mover into Mid-Atlantic and have a retreat option to channel, which is what I probably
I didn't know that
Right.
those were retreats first. I guess I had to remember the DBN map there. And is that the right thing for France to do in your mind to do that, or should he have gone to Marseille?
No, because
He
he
gets the rebuild, right?
He gets
Yeah.
rebuild, yeah. So it's the right move.
Because he's pretty much functionally retreating to Marseille anyways. He's just pushing Cedric back further.
I think Keith keeps mentioning it. France's tactics are good, but the diplomacy, once again, it's just not there. Keith, can you? I want to see what Burgundy's order was.
Supports Ruhr to Belgium. So he keeps offering the same deal to
Right.
Darcy that I'm going to give you Belgium.
So the reason why I wanted to know, because Ed, I mean, obviously didn't end up happening, but remember we were talking about a possibility of, okay, let's just say France is offering that. If you're Darcy, do you take him up on that? Obviously, assuming Russia's on board as well, where Russia moves Sweden and Norway, maybe Denmark moves to Sweden. And so it sounds like Rob had that deal on the table. Like, Burgundy supported it. Just Darcy didn't go for it.
Well, it takes two people to go for it, right? Because Sweden's got to go to
Right.
want to have to go to Norway, Denmark to Sweden. I mean, Denmark does go to Sweden here. I mean, but it doesn't go to Belgium, obviously. I'm actually really happy to see Denmark go to Sweden for once.
Yeah,
I agree.
For once. Now, if we could only get Sweden to go into Denmark, not that it matters, but still.
Yeah, I had some words in I guess the private channel that the finalists can't see, and Grayson was very much on the stab England for everything they're worth right now. Get him because he's out of position. And it's like, yeah, if Germany's offered Belgium and Sweden, you go up 2, it's in a much better position. But in my mind, you have Tim who just tricked Italy into stabbing their partner and then got them. So do you really trust Russia? And then you've been attacking France this entire time. And if you're in a France-Germany-Russia alliance against England, is that much better than the EG that you were in before?
So was Bradley
saying you're in the middle either way?
Was Bradley saying to do that regardless of whether Russia agreed to move Sweden into Norway?
No, but he said, why would not Russia not take that?
Oh, okay. So you're saying if I guess Bradley's saying both.
Because that squarely pits Germany against England then. So your north is secure. And then you still have your growth in the south. And you still have a German shield.
So we're kind of theorizing a few things here. One thing, Ed, like you mentioned, seems like the offer was on the table from Rob to support, Ruhr to Belgium, obviously, as we saw by the moves. But maybe Darcy didn't get the buy-in from Tim. And Keith, what you're saying is Tim, at least based on Bradley's argument, Tim maybe should have taken them up on that.
Or maybe Darcy didn't even care.
Right.
Maybe he said no to both of them.
Right, exactly.
He's like, I'm in Marseille. I'm going to get French dots. Why would I back up now?
It is interesting. Granted, Burgundy didn't really have much else better to order, but the order was in. So it kind of makes you wonder, like, how serious were those talks?
Darcy's like, my Berlin army has wandered through the wilderness for 2 years. It is going to Marseille.
Turns early, finally.
We have to talk about that. I mean, it's taken 2 years. Okay, I mean, for Berlin to get to Tyrolia,
still not there yet.
Get to Piedmont. He did it. And now he gets an army built in Marseille for all his troubles. I'm sure.
I have a theory that it didn't start off as an initial plan to do this very, very, very long track to Marseille. No. I think initially when he moved to Silesia, it was for to have some say in the East. We didn't really know how the East was going to shake out, because if he wanted to move to Piedmont earlier, he would have probably moved Munich to Tyrolia and then just foregone one opportunity with putting 3 on Burgundy, which obviously failed, a couple turns ago. But then they would have tried for Picardy instead. So I think it was something that kind of evolved over time. Where
it's a series of events. They went to Silesia because Russia was on the back foot. The AI was strong.
Exactly.
And that Silesia move might actually incur the stab from Italy. And then he's like, oh, now Italy stabbed. I want to go get some Austrian dots. So then he goes to Bohemia thinking he can get Vienna. And then they're like, no, we're not gonna do that.
It could have
He's like,
changed.
well, I guess I go to Tyrol. It gives me more options.
His intent just could have changed 3 turns in a row.
So I don't think he's planned to do this the entire time, but every move has actually been pretty significant to how it balances the board state, even though it hasn't done anything.
Well, I mean, let me just talk about that for a second, because oddly enough, yeah, I mean, I think we all called it going to Piedmont, but now that we see Austria is hip to this Russian business, and there is a GR, whatever we can say about this alliance, there is a GR. If I'm Russia, oh man, I'd really like that German army to be in Tyrolia still, because this is a long slog, because someone's got to get to Bohemia now to crack Austria, and even that might not be enough.
And I imagine Philip is offering help to Austria here. Philip needs a friend. So
well, Philip needs a friend, but he's playing a dangerous game too, because he clearly. Part of me is like, if you're not going to attack Trieste, maybe you, like, I guess you would be crazy to move to Piedmont here, because we saw Riaz do that once, and Jackson took Venice off of him. But like, if it's an AI, if it's reformed, we don't know if it's reformed or not. But if it has reformed, you're fighting the GR. That German unit may be attacking France, but it's not friendly really towards you.
that's a good point. It could make the very, very, very long track to Tuscany next.
Well, he's gotten into Burgundy, and so now Piedmont is technically in the west. It's pretty good. And so he could just slide Munich back to Bohemia because he can tap everything down.
That's a good point.
And so he can still go back and help Russia in this weird.
Well, depending on the builds, he might go to Tyrolia, and Russia builds in Warsaw, and Russia goes to Bohemia.
If Russia builds in Warsaw, maybe there's agreed balance in Silesia or something.
No, Russia needs to build in Moscow. If he builds in Warsaw, he's an idiot.
I don't. The other thing I want to ask you about is was there any utility in Rob? Should Gascony have been the mover to Brest as opposed to Paris? Neither could have been cut.
I just like the I don't think using Gascony at all times. It touches all your home centers. You can fling units back and forth, and it keeps them guessing.
So Rob has a rebuild. And then I'm guessing, so obviously Marseille's open. Paris is open too, right?
Yeah.
Paris and Marseille.
So if you're Rob, what do you build? I build Army Marseille. I just sort of auto did it, but I don't know if.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about Paris being an option, but I think I build Marseille as well because of the German army in Piedmont.
What do you build, Keith, if you're France, or rebuild?
Probably Army Marseille.
I would talk about Cedric's builds, but alas, it's been 3 years. He gets a rebuild. He has a rebuild. He doesn't get a build. He gets a rebuild.
So,
it's not quite the same thing.
Were you guys talking about Fleet Eddie last time? Granted, you were under the assumption he'd be on 6. So do you still stick with that, or because I'm still thinking Fleet London, but
I would say Fleet Eddie. I would say Army Liverpool if Gascony was open, because he loves convoying to Gascony.
But he hates armies.
The way Cedric's playing, I would say Fleet Liverpool. That would be the way he's playing. His genius. But I think Fleet London in this situation.
Yeah. I don't think he needs. If he was on 6, maybe it's a different story, but.
Italy, no builds. Germany, no builds. Austria, no builds.
Turkey
build.
Turkey,
Keith?
Russia.
He covers con, so Fleet Con is not an option.
True. But Fleet Ankara is.
I know the build. I don't want to say, but talk about.
I know the build too, unfortunately, because it's the only thing that caught headlines.
It's the only thing that got headlines. But
Fleet Smyrna is the obvious choice if you're in an RT. His only ally is Russia. If you want to make tempo and progress, Fleet Smyrna.
It was beyond tempo. It's if you want to break
safe.
the Ionian.
Yeah.
Which you can't break without a fleet Smyrna.
Absolutely cannot.
And I think we're bearing the lead here. We do know that Turkey builds fleet Ankara. Clearly worried about Russia.
Yep.
It's clearly he just doesn't want a walk into black. That's the way I see it. I think this was like, it wasn't a winner stab. I think this is a, hey, I'm doing this. I'm sorry, but I have to kind of a situation.
I think holding that army in Ankara is plenty to deter a stab at least.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it does. Let's talk about what Russia should build first. I don't know what Russia built. I only know what Turkey built watching these moves.
Last
You
episode,
think Moscow?
Army Moscow, I'll say it again. That's the most diplomatic thing he can do. Army Moscow can pivot to Sevastopol if he does want to slip into black. He can go up to St. Petersburg if Darcy does decide he wants to stab. And he can go towards Austria if you want to play it in more neutral. So
if he theoretically gets Galicia into Budapest, would he prefer that army's in Warsaw to bring it immediately down to Galicia? It's a little bit slower being in Moscow. Or is Ukraine following it up anyways? So it doesn't matter.
I think it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I think Moscow's probably right.
If
I'm
not going to St. Petersburg or Sevastopol, I'm probably just doing Moscow holds. It's one of the best units to have, is just to sit there, and it stops people from thinking about pivoting on you. I mean, they might get a dot off of you, but you can probably pretty much stall them pretty quickly.
All right, Keith, show them up.
Warsaw.
I'm assuming that's agreed with Germany.
Fleet London. You guys got that right. I'm surprised. I think it's
Why are
just
you
a
surprised?
channel. I mean, he
Why
can't be
is
there.
Cedric not allowed to go to north? Why is he not allowed to go to north?
He can, but Edinburgh seems to be more diplomatic. He still go to north. I'm like, there's no fleets the whole channel. Are you going to Wales? If you're going to Wales, you might as well go to Liverpool.
More diplomatic for who? If you're building Eddie, it's like Russia doesn't want
Germany. Germany's the one you want to keep on side.
But I'm saying Russia, like, it's more diplomatic for Russia to not build there, right?
I don't care about Russia. I care about that. Russia can't do nothing against me if Germany is still on my side. I mean, they can dot me for one, but then they have a German enemy. No, I want Germany to be happy. This does not make me happy if I'm Germany. Where is that fleet going? And then we're not going to support Channel into Brest. Mid-Atlantic's getting cut all day.
Right.
So is he going to North? You can go to North from Edinburgh. Is he going to Wales? What's the purpose?
So I don't mean to like make excuses for him for his build, but I did this. I did this in my last game as England. I like having options going into the next turn because I don't know how negotiations are going to go over the next 2 days. Just in my case, I had a similar build where I had the option to move to North if I wanted to.
I didn't like your build either.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, even though you say you want the options are pretty poor. And like
I mean, one would think if the EG is going to keep going, the English Channel supports Picardy, Belgium to Picardy, right?
You would think. I would have rather seen an army convoy to Picardy from London than a fleet there.
So in that instance, Neo support holds Mayo, the English Channel supports Belgium to Picardy, and then London goes to North. It's got nowhere else to go.
London has to go to North, which doesn't make me feel great. But
if you're Germany.
Because the only reason I want it to go to North is to cover Norway, which Edinburgh could have done.
Right. I mean, if you're Cedric, yeah, right. That is true. If you're Cedric, you just say, hey, it's just there to bounce Norway with Russia, right? Like, see, no harm.
Yes. Feels like a positional stab, but we'll see.
I mean, Rob's got a lot of good defensive options here. Still has guesses, right? Paris.
He's got guesses. I mean, technically, they could put 2 on Marseille, 2 on Brest, and Rob can only defend. No, that's not true because they could put. Yeah, never mind. Disregard because I forgot about Spain. Spain
Yeah,
could
Spain could
support her
support
in Marseille.
so,
Yeah.
Well,
I guess at least Paris open. There are guesses.
Yeah,
yeah, there are guesses, but still, it's not horrible. Does Cedric whip around to Western Med at all?
Ooh.
It's difficult. Josh, you know all about that.
Well, so in my game, I tried to prevent doing that as long as I could because I didn't want to overextend. I finally reached a point where I needed to, and I ended up getting stabbed after I moved to Western Med, but it wasn't immediately. It was a couple turns after. But at that time, I don't think I was. I mean, he's still on 5, right? So like, I think I was on 6 when I did that. So I was trying to be careful with how much I overextended in that game. So that was on my mind.
But even still, if I want to go Western Med, I'm building Liverpool to go to Irish because most likely you have English Channel will balance out it even with support for North Atlantic. I don't know. The only thing I can see London doing is for some reason going to North to convoy that army somewhere. Now that they're in Burgundy and Piedmont, maybe to Gascony, I don't know. Maybe it's there to convoy. Maybe he convoys it to Norway since he built in Warsaw instead of Moscow. He won't have a way to cover St. Petersburg. Don't know. That's a year away, though.
It does tell me that build in Warsaw, that's a really good point, Keith, seems to minimize the chances of a Russian stab with Germany against England, right? Or maybe they feel like now's the time to do it. It could be that now is the time to do it, but then that sort of puts a lot of power with France and England.
So now's the time for who to stab?
Do you think there might be a time? I mean, let's say Belgium goes to Picardy. Well, okay. Burgundy to Belgium, Munich to Ruhr, Denmark to Sweden, Kiel to Denmark. Everything can get covered. You just don't know what's going to happen with the English fleet. But
I'm thinking this looks more like an ER than anything. If Warsaw's built, if Moscow was built, then you could see an RG. But the fact that you have a build that can go to North, which can threaten Germany, and Warsaw, which can threaten Germany, it's more of a bat. I don't like any of those builds as Germany. That's not fun.
I was going to say, if you're Germany, you can't be happy with these builds from either of them.
Well, Germany wouldn't want an army in London. He wouldn't want that. About that
like
too.
Keith mentioned, Fleet Liverpool, Fleet Eddie, Army Moscow were the.
I don't think Cedric can credibly build Fleet Liverpool in this situation and not get stabbed.
But the only thing I can think of that could do that's pro-German is convoying that army. And I don't know if he's going to convoy it versus France or maybe wait until next spring to convoy it in Norway to slip into St. Petersburg. But I'm not sure.
It seems like the best option of where you guys are saying is to continue to push on France. It's a slog. They get a Picardy here, a Burgundy there.
It could have been Tim came to him and was like, hey, I got Rob on board. Let's stab Cedric. And Darcy said no. And so Tim's like, hey, Cedric, do you want some German dots? Because my growth in the south is stalled. So we'll see. It's not good builds for Darcy, but
if you're Rob, you just need one little chance here because he's defended it basically as good as he can. He just needs that one chance to come out of this, and that's why I think ultimately, if EG are thinking about this, because I think you mentioned in the last episode, France can come back from down 2, let alone they're still on 5. Like, they could rebound very quickly. So I'm sure that's on their minds.
I just tend to think that the EGR will stick together here. I think that is your ultimate alliance on this board. And I think they will stick together. I don't know if that's a good idea, but I think that is what will happen.
I mean, we were talking about if there are dots to be had, it increases the odds of them staying together. Right now, there are Austrian dots for Russia to take. There are French dots for the EG to take. So I agree.
it's a really tricky situation as we look at the tactics in the West, right? Because in the East, one has to think that there will be a bounce in the black.
Yeah.
There's no other reason for that build other than a bounce in the black. So I think we can see that happening. But it's not like Italy can really do anything about it other than support holding Ionian and then I guess maybe convoying Tunis to Albania, back to Albania or Apulia, right? I mean, I don't think that Italy can really afford to do
this.
anything.
One thing that I didn't really think through when I was thinking, because I was thinking ink build, right? Defensive, bounce, black, all that stuff. That's a huge win for Italy. I mean, he can't put 3 on Ionian for a while, and even then, it's like we assume that Ankara fleet's there to bounce black. So that's big. Like that's really big for Philip. I didn't really think through that until just now.
Yeah, it's a big win because I guess we didn't really talk about it, except Keith said, keeping the army in anchor, I guess in Khan is all the protection you need. It's a game of trust, right? Do you think Tim would have stabbed Turkey here? Maybe not. It's good. Everything's difficult because Turkey's next build is Serbia, I think, and it can't be supported by Greece to go to Serbia.
Right.
And you need a unit in Bohemia, ideally another army in Tyrolia to crack the position.
So is this? I know we kind of made the assumption that the Ankara fleet is a defensive move, bounce and black. Do we possibly see a Turkish stab on Russia coming here? You can rotate your fleets around, put Aegean into Khan. You need kind of Italy buy-in for that, but you could force black the next turn. Is that a possibility at all?
I'm sure Philip would be for it.
Oh yeah, the IT that we kept talking about, they had a bad position for it, but that could finally be the start they needed.
I don't know. Still, an IT with 3 Turkish fleets isn't ideal.
Great. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not.
But I could see that happening.
Well, what I like that you mentioned is where is Turkey's next stock coming from?
And if he took Ionian, he would have been able to crack through
Right.
a little more.
Right, and he can't do that now.
And, but he'd have Anatolia at risk. So
right, right. But
it.
I actually the more I'm thinking about this, I don't see where his
I feel like Tim moved to Galicia. He declared his intent was anti-Austrian. I just don't think that Tim's going to form an AT by attacking everybody. It just didn't make sense. Had he not gone to Galicia, I might have been a little more cautious about it. But I think he's all in. I think Tim would have given him Serbia and just let him walk in for his own growth. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. The problem is that, okay, so if Munich goes to Bohemia or Galicia goes to Bohemia and Warsaw shifts to Galicia, whatever, the only way to work it out with Turkey is to do all that work so Serbia goes to Budapest and only to find Bulgaria take Serbia.
Right.
But one thing these players, and I think it's to their credit maybe, is we haven't actually seen a finals board like this, which
it is pretty unique.
The leader is Tim at 7, but everyone's still in it, and everyone's going slow. That's going to make for a really good end game. I mean, I can't wait if they continue like this, but the typical way we've seen is where a couple of players go off to the races and try and reduce the odds of everybody else.
I just think it's funny that there's so many tempo players on this board, and there's no tempo at all. I know Turkey is not a tempo player. He is very much a defensive person. He doesn't care who you are.
That build makes sense then.
I think that's more of a European thing. I don't really care what you say. I'm gonna protect myself.
I mean, Turkey at 5 is fine, right? We talked about this before. This was my Fleet Khan idea, which is he can afford to be slow here. Its game goes to 1910.
Yep.
He's really not super threatening to anyone. So Josh, like I guess I said, where's Turkey's next stock coming from? But Turkey doesn't really. Turkey at 6 is awesome, but
yeah, sit on 5 for a while.
He can stay on 5, I think, for a while.
He also his diplomatic situation is pretty good too. I mean, so obviously he's tight with Russia. I mean, he hasn't done anything anti-Austrian. Right? I mean, he took Bulgaria back after Austria tried to take it. So, and Italy went into Aegean and fall 1. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm curious what his relationships are like with Italy and Austria, because really he hasn't been the first one to wrong either of them.
I feel like Italy and Austria are kind of free agents right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if Germany or Turkey are wrong, they can just pull them right in real fast.
Yep.
Well, the question is for how long. But like one thing about Turkey's play, and I guess I want to just talk about, like, it's underappreciated in a way. He's the one that put Italy into Greece and then takes Greece back.
True.
True. He's got options here. If he wants to fight Russia, he can put Austria into Serbia. He can do things that, I mean, he can attack Tim that way through others, or at least through Austria. But then there's the Italian problem, and do you really want AI back together? I mean, I don't know.
So if you're Philip, you're probably pitching to Turkey. Hey, let's rotate. Bulgaria to Greece, Khan to Bull, Aegean to Khan. You can take Black in the fall. I don't know if he probably supports Ionian to be safe, but maybe he promises to move that fleet away. I don't know, but that's got to be the pitch, right?
It has to be the pitch, and I would imagine Philip is using all his charm and abilities to do that, and it may have some traction because I'd imagine Tim's a little upset at that build.
Yep.
If I'm Philip, and I just got burned by Tim by ruining my alliance, then I am going to everyone warning them that he might do the same thing. So I'm telling Turkey, hey, you better watch your back. He's going to stab you too. Hey, Germany, don't take any deals from Tim. He's going to stab you too. And that might be why things didn't shake out for Tim this season.
Right.
He might have just got his hands too dirty. He's like, look, he has no enemies. Who is he going to attack next? He can attack anybody he wants. Do you really want to trust him?
That would I
thought I could trust him, and I'm not even next to him.
That would play into Turkey's build as well.
And Philip's really good about talking, so he's probably the best diplomat there as far as just words per minute. So that might be why we have a fleet Ankara.
So, I mean, and another nice thing for Philip here is he's in a decently defensible position, assuming that German army in Piedmont isn't moving towards them. So, I mean, you can support hold Ionian, you can convoy the army back to Apulia. So, for whatever reason, there's 2 on Venice in the fall. You can support hold it. So, he has some time. Like we were talking about Turkey not being in a huge rush here. Philip, as long as he can defend himself, which it looks like he can do, he can kind of allow things to shake out a little bit, let other people burn some other people, and then strike when the opportunity is there to capitalize.
Well, where would he strike? Because the only thing I can come up with is Venice to Trieste, supported by Adriatic, which is difficult with a German army in Piedmont. Like, I don't think it's a spring move,
right,
if it happens, which would allow Russia to put 3 on Budapest coming from Serbia, and I guess Turkey to get Serbia from Bulgaria, but that's just in the end going to work out bad for Italy, right? Or maybe not.
It goes back to the boot for sure. It's probably going back to Apulia.
Yep. In the fall, could move back to Albania.
I think Philip's okay with the German army being there. It's like, hey, you're not helping Russia here. You're obviously anti-France, and you don't want to break the AI because if Russia grows here, then he's just going to come after you next. I think Philip's strongly pushing a central alliance. Even if it's not Darcy's first one, it's not in Darcy's best interest to attack the AI or help anyone there right now. Not until he gets a dot in France.
I mean, do you guys see any surprises here in spring? Because I really don't. I mean, I don't think there's a stab on England, I think that's available. There's a stab on Germany that's available. There's, I guess, a stab on Austria that's available. I don't think there's a real stab on Turkey. Maybe there's a stab on Russia, but I don't think any of those 4 stabs will happen.
I don't either. I mean, yeah, maybe Turkey repositions, but it's like what we've been saying this whole time is that like it feels like they've been so many powers have been making this long slog to get to where they ultimately want to get, and they're kind of finally about to get there, which makes you feel like, things will stay the same. But I mean,
I think the territory to look at is Serbia. Everything's going to roll around Serbia. If Turkey's in Serbia, you have a good RT. If Russia's still in Serbia, then there's some ambiguity. Russia could probably help Ionia or Tunis into Greece at this point. Not even think that that's going to be held. So the Wintergreen can come back. If Austria goes into Serbia, you could have an AT going on. So
I like this point that Josh made, though, right? Which is maybe the reason everyone's moving slow is because they've had these goals that are long-term goals and they want to get to them. And we won't see movement until people see other people getting a real advantage. Right. And it seems to me that the only person that's had sort of an advantage is Tim, and that's kind of been taken away a bit with this build in Ankara. And so that's just going to promote this plotting play for now.
I think it hampers Turkey more than it does Russia. Russia has that unit not doing anything anyway. So I was like, okay, let's just bounce forever. I'm not using Sev anyway. So you're just hampering your own growth at this point. You can't do anything without it.
Yeah, you're right. I think that this does, like, I like Tim's position better. Like, let's just say it was a fleet Smyrna, I'd be liking Tim's position a lot more. This kind of slows them both down a bit because now you have 2 units that are essentially wasted because for
defense. Got 5 armies to roll through. Nikita's got 1, and you can't break Ionian. So if he wants to protect his 5 and just hang out in the back, great. I'm more of a tempo player. I don't do that, but
I think we're likely to see Bulgaria to Greece, Greece to Aegean, Aegean to Eastern, Khan to Bulgaria, Ankh bounces black. They're shifting a position to get the army in Greece. Maybe, you can't convoy it.
I can see that.
You could if you moved to Albania, but that'd be stupid.
Yeah. No,
you don't split your
that is the perfect defensive position.
So I'm not predicting this at all, but anytime I see a Russian army in Warsaw and a Russian army in Galicia, it always
Prussia, Silesia.
Yeah, I don't think that happens here. It wouldn't make sense. But anytime I see that,
does without Fleet London.
Well, it just, I mean, you're not even guaranteed to get, because that fleet Kiel's there, Sweden's
the fleet's not in Denmark, so it can't bounce north.
Right.
Holland's pretty much could be taken. Denmark could be
Why don't we talk about that? Warsaw to Prussia. Let's come up with the best stab on Germany.
Warsaw to Prussia.
London and North. Prussia, Silesia.
Belgium
Cedric takes Denmark.
Belgium to Holland.
Denmark, yeah. Russia gets Berlin.
I would put Russia
Cedric
in
takes Denmark.
Or maybe, I don't know. Just depends.
Either way.
Denmark can fall because Holland taps Kiel.
Belgium to Holland. English Channel to Belgium.
Silesia to
Support
Belgium.
hold Mid-Atlantic. It's kind of tempting.
It feels kind of similar. It feels similar to the stab we threw out there as a possibility last episode, where it's technically there, but is the odds, of it happening high? Probably not. But it's good to at least talk about the fact it could happen. Because again, anytime I see those 2 armies there, if I'm Germany, I don't like that. Another reason why I wouldn't have been happy with that build if I'm Germany.
I mean, here's the thing. Germany's position is so bad in the sense that I think Diplomatic's position seems good, but that army in Denmark, the fleet in Kiel, 2 wasted units for 3 years. It takes 4 years to get to Piedmont. You could lose guesses.
Keith, does just looking at this German position, but seeing Kiel and Denmark units in the inverse order just hurt your soul right now?
Oh, I would have moved to Helgoland a long time ago and swapped them around. There's no reason. Helgoland.
especially in a spring turn, because then like if for whatever reason Russia moves there, you can kick them out.
Or even go Den Keel to Baltic. That way Russia isn't creeped out. You can always support yourself back to Den.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Like,
I still don't
rotated
predict
a long time
stab.
ago.
Not until you get France down a couple, I think.
You would think.
Has the fleet keel been there for 5 straight turns?
Yeah.
It was a
Move back
moved
to
over. It moved over in spring, and then 5 turns of basically a hold.
Mm-hmm.
no, wasn't it his build?
No,
He didn't
Where's
build
his other fleet? Oh, he didn't build
he's
a fleet.
one. He hasn't
He built all
built.
armies,
Yeah.
which we did not protect
Right.
at all.
Right.
We assumed fleet would be built, but no. He hasn't needed one yet.
So horrible. I don't know who's worse, Cedric or Darcy on this board.
Based on your
All right.
intro, I think I know your answer.
Okay, it's time for grades.
Yeah,
Austrian
but together
grade.
only are 10 centers, so
Austria had 3, still at 3. Got some revenge on Italy and then snuffed out Budapest and didn't even protect Trieste. Not in the best spot, but better than it was looking just a year ago. I mean, I would have thought Austria would have been down 1, has done well for himself, I think. So what do you fellas grade Richard?
it's a C for me.
Wow. Okay.
For me, it's a B. I like the fact, obviously, he guessed correctly in the fall with which unit to defend. I like that he possibly has some options going into next year. Obviously, I prefer that Russian army in Galicia to not be there. But yeah, I mean, I think this year couldn't have gone too much better for him. So
he had a few tactical victories, but the positioning's still pretty bad.
Yeah.
And the Warsaw build, even though it's more anti-Germany, doesn't make me feel great either. Move to Galicia doesn't make me feel good. So, yeah.
I agree those don't make you feel good, but on the other hand, like you got to play the hand that you're dealt. And he had a pretty bad hand. So, I mean, I think he played it about as well as he could have. I mean, he couldn't have. I guess theoretically, Vienna could have gone to Galicia there. Go back to fall for a second.
Oh, you're right. That actually would have been the better move. Support hold Budapest, the Trieste, and Vienna bounces Galicia.
But didn't he support Galicia?
No, I think it walked in.
I mean, if you really thought the stab was coming, right, which he's double supporting and he doesn't need double support.
Yeah, he could just held
Right.
and move Vienna to Galicia.
Vienna
with
to-
support.
Yeah, Vienna support only Budapest is all he needed. Trieste support technically wasn't needed.
It's a C
Yeah.
for me. With my new Excel spreadsheet.
I'll go B minus. Cedric the Genius took Brest, then didn't take it. Rebuilds in London. I wish there was more to talk about. He just didn't do anything again. So Keith, his grades for all his genius non-movement.
It's a C plus, marginal positioning, but for the most part, just grinding for nothing.
C for me. We knew he was either getting Mayo or Brest. We got Mayo. Nothing more to say.
F.
How could I have seen
that? There's also a U after that too, but it's just for now. It's just an F. Could be the lowest grade possible is the FU, but that'll come later. That'll come later, Cedric, when you mess it up. So it's just an F for now, my friend. Okay, France lost nothing.
We know what said. We know what Keith's giving him.
F for France.
No, it's a C for good tactics and.
Well, I mean,
I got a different grading scale.
He lost Mid-Atlantic. You lost Burgundy.
Yeah.
Some would say that these are almost
And Piedmont.
inevitable, except for and Piedmont. I mean,
Never
gonna be
underestimate Piedmont. That tapping sucks. But on our
You're
team
gonna be-
game,
you're gonna
that
be
Piedmont
tech-
Army locks everything down. It sucks. It's a D plus for me. Positions collapsing slowly.
What more could he have done though?
Yeah,
got an ally, got Darcy to go into Belgium, had Tim stab anything, have Venice bounce Piedmont instead of keeping it there. I don't anything. France needs to work more on his diplomacy. The tactics are there, but you lost position in Burgundy, Piedmont, Mid Atlantic. It's just collapsing. It's a D plus.
The key difference for me between this year and last year is last year he guessed everything absolutely correctly, which saved him a little bit of time. This year he couldn't have guessed everything correctly, which means he had to get somebody on side. He tried to get Germany on side and he didn't. It's a C for me.
I think the moves are perfect, but that doesn't mean
I give him a B. I mean, I just don't know what. I mean, I agree he needed an ally.
B for badly collapsing.
I'm impressed that Francis hung on this much through 3 years.
I'm not. Look where Darcy's units are. Darcy's fighting them with 3 arms behind his back.
It's only because he's playing against idiots. But if he had actual competent players, it would be worse for him.
Well, Rob's a really good player, so that's not the insult that you think it is. He's good.
It is the insult, I was thinking. All right, Germany got to Piedmont. That's really and Burgundy.
He got to Piedmont, Burgundy. It's a C.
He doesn't take a supply center at all. He's got an army trap. Doesn't stab. Not that he should have.
Russian army build in Warsaw.
Army Marseille.
It went from England being in the worst position to Germany being in the worst position. So he goes down to a C just because of those builds.
Yeah, C for me.
C for me also. Average play, Darcy. Italian grade, which really is lost Serbia, lost Greece, had an army piffed, but did take the last neutral to be at 4, and maybe has groveled enough to Austria to, start the AI back again in a much weaker position due to his greed. What's the Italian grade?
I have a C minus for him. It probably would have been lower just by losing all his position, but at the same time, that fleet Ankara, getting the army out of Tyrolia, even though Piedmont's not much better, but at least it lets you work with the AI a little bit. And it looks like there's somewhat of a making up with Austria. So it boosts this grade a little bit more than you would think. So I got a C minus.
For me, it's a D minus. Based off of Spring alone, it's an F, but he had a little bit of a comeuppance with the fall, good tactics, Keith, like you mentioned, the Turkish fleet build in Ankara. I mean, we were still picking him to win going into this year, and after the spring turn, everything collapsed, and you can't, he has to be graded harshly for that. So, yeah, I'll bump him up a little bit from the F, but it's not good.
I had a D minus for the spring going in, so yeah.
Yeah, spring was brutal.
Absolutely. I brought it up quite a bit with these builds. I really like these builds for
gives them a life.
This fall winter kind of picked them up just a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, C minus ain't great by any means.
It's a tough grade for me because the bad grade actually ended up being that he engaged in a stab in 1902, which I graded him an A+ for. But
it's off the assumption
what he did was he made a stab and lost a solid friend and gained a scoundrel as an ally who immediately stabbed him back. So does that mean that I should lower the O2 grade to, an F? And say, well, you took your chances at the casino. It didn't work out, but at least you played in the game in 03. Or do I just say, like Josh, well, look, dude, you lost, a center. Your position is horrible, but you got a fleet built in Ankara. which is why he doesn't get an F for me.
I'm attributing all these builds to Phil for the most part. He's definitely got to be burning Tim hardcore diplomatically.
So I actually give it a D plus, even though I think that's high. I think, man, I'm going to go with a D. I think a straight D is deserved.
He can't lose Ionian. I mean, granted, I feel like he's just going to sit on 4 for a while. You're talking about patient play. Italy has patient play now.
He'll get a good grade next year if things start looking better.
Well, C- ain't great, so but yeah, I feel weird grading in the highest. Oh well, that's what my Excel spreadsheet gave me.
Russian grade. Russia got Serbia for his troubles. Made an attempt at Budapest that failed. I don't actually know why he thought it would succeed. That is one. I guess he thought that Budapest and Vienna would be supporting Trieste.
Right.
He probably didn't have anything else to do with them, so he might as well just try anyways.
You might as well just try. Takes Galicia. Gets a builds in Warsaw, has no tension in the north unless he wants to be the tension maker. Holds the cards right now. If there's a stab, either against England or Germany, it is up to him. It's pretty impenetrable, as Keith pointed out. Has his fleet built in Ankara, and Keith, for what it's worth, when you said it doesn't hurt Russia that much, it just impedes Turkish growth. It does hurt Russia, but it hurts Russian growth through Turkey, which is why Turkey did it. Not saying that Russia would have done it now, but Tim hasn't shown himself. He's shown himself to be flexible with his alliances this game. And if I was Turkey, I think safety is not a bad thing.
I don't know. He said in black forever and defended Turkey. And then all of a sudden he doesn't trust them there. I get it, and I don't think Tim's been unfaithful to Darcy or Cedric, and he seems to be fine with Nikita. He just burnt Philip, which was what was stalling in the East. So if anything, Turkey should be like, oh yeah, that was a great lie, because now we broke the other
burnt
line.
Richard.
Yeah, but that was their enemy. The AI was fighting the RT.
Well, he's burnt Richard now. Like, I'm assuming this last fall was. Yeah.
So yeah, you do whatever you can to break your enemy, and that's what they're doing. So
and let's give him credit. By this time in Olympus finals, I think he was at 2 at the end of 1903. So he's like triple. It's like three times better than he was just 6 weeks ago. Keith, you're great.
I get that he can be painted as unfaithful, but at the same time, this is what you need to do to break the stalemate and actually get progress with your allies. I had him high below A, but then these builds, I don't like Warsaw. That just creeps out your allies, and then apparently Turkey didn't have a lot of trust in you and built Ankh. So tempo is going to be a little bit slower now, and you're going to have to figure out why people did what they did and why you did. And I got it at a B-.
I'll go B+. I don't want to discount the position in the north right now. I mean, he's got nothing there. I didn't love the whole back out of Galicia in the spring, only come back in the fall. I just didn't like that. And then the Ankh fleet build was rough. So, I mean, probably would have been an A if it wasn't for that. But yeah, B+, I think.
I like that you're rougher on him than I was and give him a higher grade.
I'm actually going to give him an A-. Okay, and the reason why
because he has a higher scale than I do.
maybe because maybe, but I think the main reason is he's effectively neutered or rendered mostly ineffective Italy and Austria right now.
And Turkey.
Well, and Turkey too. I mean, so and himself while we're at it. But he has more centers, so he can neuter himself if he wants to. All right, Turkish grade. Turkey got a build through Greece, attacked Italy, built in Ankara.
I also have a B-. I just don't like this Ankara build at all. It doesn't build trust, and it's still early. You're not even in the mid game yet, and you're already worried about a stab from someone who has pressure. Could have pressure on all multiple fronts. So I think he's just hampering his own game. But if you're playing a patient turkey, it could be good. But yeah, I got a B- as well.
I'll give him an A. He got a build. Turkey on 5. I like this position for him a lot. Like we mentioned, Turkey's in no rush here. You can play it slow. You're safe. I actually like the Inkara build. I know, Keith, like you don't like it. In these type of games, we talk about, some of these great players, safety first. I'm okay with that, especially as Turkey. So I thought this was a great year for him.
It's an A+, and I'm going to go back to this very episode 2 times ago when y'all were like, particularly Keith, wanted to grade Turkey so low for endangering this wintergreen that was going to wipe Turkey out. And he didn't get wiped out. And we said, oh, well, we can't grade on what's going to happen, but you kind of graded on what's going to happen. And guess what? None of that happened. And he got Greece back, and he's able to defend himself.
I give a lot of points for diplomatic success, and this looks like a diplomatic failure. So
I don't know. I mean, I think it's great. I'm really happy for him. I think he had a great year. And having said that, I agree. He doesn't have a lot of places to grow right now, but it's a long game for Turkey. And the way it's going, 8 or 9 might win this game. And I wouldn't count Turkey out for that.
No, Turkey's still in a great position. B- is still a good grade. It's the highest. Russia and Turkey got the highest grade from me anyway. So
who had your best grade this year?
Both Russia and Turkey, B-.
Okay.
First grader.
I told you all the grades are going to get
the calculator.
You have to have an amazing turn to get an A from me.
It's actually the very hard question here. Keith, who will win season 9 Nexus main event?
I think I'm going to say Turkey.
Okay. Oh, man. I was going to say Turkey. All right. So first of all, I was going to say all 3 of us are going to change our picks from last season for sure. I was going to pick Turkey, and I thought I'd be the only one. But yeah, I'm picking Turkey too.
Sticking with England.
What? Are you kidding me?
Just because he's an asshole, he's my asshole. Okay, only we can, make fun of our pledges like this. I think Cedric's got some good chances here. If he only knew how to play them, he'd have some good chances. We'll see. But I'll stick with Cedric.
I just like Turkey. I'm a Turkish player anyways. Even though he's not playing exactly how I would play, I feel like Tim's a big target, and there's a lot of good players around him that could collapse him if he makes the wrong move. And I think Turkey's in the best position to monopolize from it.
I think if you give any Turkish player on a top board this position, they would take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really interesting question, which I know we're over, but you didn't know anything about the game except just looking at the map. Just look at the map and not see any of the prior moves. What position would you want to sub into?
Turkey.
Well, I like playing Turkey anyway, so Turkey. But I like Russia too, though. Russia's my favorite power. I was actually in a similar position at SkyCon, and we drew at this stage, and I board topped as Russia. At Riaz in Austria, and
so who are you picking? Who would you sub into?
But I played Turkey.
I think Turkey's.
I would sub into Russia. I would sub into Russia. I think my South is really impenetrable, and I just got to fade the North and time a stab against Germany at the right time. I think that's how I would.
I think coming in as a sub, I want the most defensible position. So that's why I picked Turkey. But Russia's position is great. Nothing
you
against
know that, Ed. You want to be in a defensible position if you're a sub.
Not Austria down to 2.
No, if I'm Turkey, I'm trying to form an AIT here. I feel like that's great for Turkey, and it's the best growth you can get. And have Italy go try to stop the EG because Italy's got Germany problems.
I'm not at all sure that Philip does that though.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really scared that if I put Austria and Serbia and bouncing black and help them against Romania, like, why aren't those guys just going to come kill me? You're
Right.
solidifying their alliance again. I'm scared of an AITFM Turkey right now. I think I try and just tell Russia, hey, we'll just have a slow RT. Chill out. It'll be fine.
We'll see.
I don't know. Okay.
The only reason you do that is if you get Italy to go away, which is going to be really hard to do.
Right.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks for staying with us. Good night and good luck.